It was when I was in high school that everything changed. I found myself trying to figure out who I was at the same time when my dad was medically releasing after 32 years in the Canadian Armed Forces. Living in Halifax, I was no stranger to storms. This time, the hurricane was as chaotic inside me as it was outside. My mom has always been the glue that held everything together. It was obvious that my father was unwell and suddenly seemed to need all of her attention. There was little left over for me. Home, which was once warm and welcoming, was filled with arguments and tension. I know my parents tried to keep their struggles private, and that just made me feel shut out, powerless to help. I carried my pain alone, not wanting to be a burden. Silence was safer. I turned to self-harm. Going away to school offered a period of respite and stability. I had time to explore my own identity and meet a community of people who became my chosen family. 4 years after graduation, another storm. My father-in-law, my grandmother, and then my mother all passed within 6 months of each other. My life turned upside down. I didn't know how to live without my mom. A question? Call mom. Worried? Text mom. She always had the solution, the wisdom, the life experience that I needed. How could I possibly live without her? I felt so alone. The first therapist I tried didn't even bother to learn my name. She called me Melissa. The second didn't feel like a safe space. The third just didn't get it. I knew I had to get through this, and that meant finding a therapist that could understand not just the grief from the losses, but also my own identity shifts. It was a full year before I walked through the door of one that finally got me. The clinic was a queer-friendly space that allowed me to explore me. For the first time, I found the language to describe my experiences and was able to speak my truth like I'd never had before. In looking inward, I began to understand the experiences that shaped me. I made the connection to my military family background, where change is inevitable, and realized that change isn't bad, it's growth. Change is how we adapt and overcome the stress and trauma we face. We are resilient. I didn't realize how much I had changed until my wedding day. Despite our best planning, Hurricane Lee was making landfall, and everything was chaotic. While taking a few photos outside, a big gust of wind took my veil away right before the ceremony. As I watched it whirl through the air, I could feel the stress rising up, the loss. Until my dad walked over to me and said, "I think that's your mom. She's reminding us that she is here and still part of the day." The strain slowly melted away and we all started laughing. Standing there in the howling wind, I realized how much I had changed. Rather than focus on the sadness which had been part of my story, I would choose to welcome these winds of change that come through my life and the joy that it could bring. A few months later, I began my journey with Veterans Affairs, learning more about the veteran community, OSIs, and gaining insight into what my dad faced during his transition. Today, I work in the same building where my mom spent years supporting veterans through the OSI Peer Support Program. Being a part of this community connects me to both my parents, and I'm proud that my experience can help veterans and their families navigate their own storms.